Sí. Todas las playeras de los uniformes.
Teofimo Lopez linking up with Canelo Alvarez ahead of the Shakur Stevenson fight is one of those moves that instantly shifts the entire tone of the build-up. And a major reason it hits different is Eddie Reynoso's presence throughout the process.
5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Cambio, vamos. Que te vengan aquí. Para el siguiente round. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1.
This isn't about headlines, viral clips, or gym selfies. This is about sharpening weapons in an environment where Reynoso's championship standards are non-negotiable.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
Todas las playeras de los uniformes.
Teofimo made it clear this wasn't a split or a shakeup either. In his words, "My father and Eddie Reynoso have been in communication, and I think this is the best option. I'm not stepping away from my father. He was actually the one who insisted I join Canelo's camp. My father was there. It was great. Let's see what comes of it. That detail matters."
Un tiempo y arriba. Ándele. Un tiempo arriba, un tiempo abajo. Eso.
Break. Break. Break.
Eso, ya le está doliendo ahí. Ahora la metes en medio, güey. Ándele, muy bien. Ahora no le tiras nada. No te sale. Camina. Lo llaveas, ya.
This isn't Teofimo running from his roots. It's him expanding them under Reynoso's watchful eye. Working alongside Canelo in Eddie Reynoso's camp means learning how to apply pressure without rushing, how to stay calm inside chaos, and how to turn patience into damage. It's elite mindset training as much as physical work, shaped by Reynoso's philosophy of control and efficiency.
What's it like seeing him now kind of face to face? When you look at him, what do you see? Because obviously you're not locked in just yet, and the closer it gets to a fight, obviously things turn a little bit. But when you do look at Shakur, what do you think of him?
I think I don't think too much of it. You know, I think that he believes in himself. That's one thing. But I'm here to destroy his dreams and all that he wants to do and become. You can't take this from me. I worked very hard for it. I've bled for this, you know, and I'm not taking nothing from him, but I just believe that what's gonna happen next is for destiny and the boxing ring to decide.
You can already feel the intention behind it. Teofimo isn't just preparing to beat Shakur. He's preparing to stay composed when the fight gets uncomfortable. And when a fighter known for explosiveness starts adding layers of calm, timing, and ring IQ influenced by Eddie Reynoso, that's when things get very interesting.
Sparred Shakur? Yeah, absolutely. We sparred, but we only did like 3 rounds, and it was pretty much simple. It wasn't too crazy. Yeah.
But take anything from that? I know it's only 3 rounds, but do you take anything out of that 3 rounds that you shared with Shakur?
It's interesting. Him, I did 3 rounds. Gervonta Davis, I did 3 rounds. Only those 2 guys I ever did like rounds that were so minimal. And but you leave that aura to that fighter so that they always plays in their mind eventually, you know. So
why did you do only 3 rounds with both of them?
I think that was all they wanted. They were swapping around. So we didn't do too many rounds. Yeah, I think that he was just there preparing for his fight that week. So.
And right after hearing about Teofimo soaking up knowledge in Canelo's camp, this is where the conversation naturally levels up. Because when you zoom out, you realize how big this moment really is. I'm listening to Max break this down and thinking, Yeah, this is one of those rare times boxing actually gets out of its own way. No marinating for 5 years. No waiting until somebody slips. Just two elite fighters meeting while both still believe they're the future.
Listen, if Stevenson wants to be on his stick and move game, very difficult style matchup for Teofimo, and maybe not that entertaining to the fans.
Because Stevenson's longer.
Exactly.
Stevenson's defense probably the best in the game, and he's longer.
Great reflexes and timing, and so does Teo. That's why he's a great counterpuncher. But Teo's, he's a very special athlete.
Teofimo is a two-time two-division Ring Magazine champion. In both fights where he won the Ring Magazine championship, he was the underdog. 4-1 underdog against Lomachenko. People forget, Lomachenko was taking elite fighters in the lower divisions and they were quitting.
Yes.
He was beating them into something. They were like, I can't do this, right? And Teofimo beat him. Right, he outboxed him.
Yeah, he didn't do it by physically imposing himself on him.
He outboxed him, he outfought him, he had speed.
I love how this gets framed as a high-speed chess match because that's exactly what it feels like. Not a sprint, not a staring contest. A fight where every move carries consequences. Teofimo is the guy who saves his best version for the biggest nights. We've seen that movie before, when everyone doubts him and suddenly he's throwing 100 punches in the final round just to make a statement. Shakur, on the other hand, is that calm presence who makes you feel like you're losing without realizing how. And that's what makes this dangerous. One man thrives in chaos. The other thrives in control. And neither plans on blinking.
I like about Teo's style, when you have a guy like Shakur whose defense is that good, and he's not just a guy who's going to hug you, he can box, you know? The easiest thing in the world is just to pick him against everybody.
Right. Yes.
But Teo also has the kind of footwork, Malik, where he steps around guys. Sorry. Shakur has more to lose. Yeah. He's the undefeated fighter. He's seen as the eventual pound-for-pound champ, potentially. But Teo has more to win. He has more to gain. So on the one hand, is there an advantage there where Shakur is fighting to protect that perfect record, to protect that kind of sense that he's the next guy? On the other hand, Teo is like he can fight with more abandon against Shakur because there's so much for him to gain. And if he loses, he's lost before. He lost to Kambosos, and he came back from.
I'm nodding when Max talks about underdog energy because Teofimo with nothing to lose is a different animal. Loose, creative, explosive. But I'm also not ignoring the reality that Shakur's defense isn't just pretty, it's disciplined. And discipline usually ages well under pressure. This doesn't feel like hype talk. It feels like a collision of philosophies. One fighter betting on moments, the other betting on margins. And when you hear this kind of breakdown, it doesn't make you more confident in a pick. It makes you more excited to watch the rounds breathe. Because this is the kind of fight where the story changes 3 or 4 times before it's over.
Do you see Shakur standing his ground and fighting in the pocket more than people expect?
Do you see him being successful doing that, Doug?
Yeah, I do.
I feel like this fight is a winner's bracket fight from an era, but we're getting it now. You know, when you look at like Tank and Haney and Ryan and this and that, you know, and Shakur and Teofimo and Lomachenko, even though he was older, but there were a whole bunch of really talented guys in and around the weight neighborhood.
Yeah.
And I feel like these two could have easily been the two when the dust settled left standing, but the dust hasn't settled yet. They're just getting it on.
Yes.
Right? Like, that's what excites me.
And this is where the entire build-up quietly clicks into place. After all the analysts, camps, and predictions, you finally hear Shakur himself and realize this fight didn't need weeks of negotiations or promoter drama. It literally happened because 2 confident fighters picked up the phone and said, "Let's do it." I'm listening to that and thinking, that's real fighter energy. No ducking, no weight games, no bring him down to me talk. Just Shakur saying, if you want him, you meet him where he's strongest. That alone tells you he's not here to play it safe. And I love how calm he sounds while calling Teofimo unpredictable, unfiltered, and dangerous, while still giving him full respect. That's not fear.
Make him pay for a lot of them things that he said about black people, but at the end of the day, I know he's not racist. I know him deep down inside. He truly is a cool person. He wants to be great, and this is the type of fight that I really enjoy.
You guys had the press conference last week and the face-to-face and all that stuff. What did you make of his vibe there? The face-off was interesting, and some of the things that he was saying at the press conference was interesting. What did you make of his vibe overall?
I think something mentally wrong with him. I don't think he's like all the way there mentally. I think he's crazy.
Legit?
That's my opinion. Yeah, I think he's legit crazy. I think something really wrong with him, but that's what make him dangerous. I think them the guys is the most dangerous people. Them delusional, crazy people who want to be the best and want their spot at greatness. So I gotta respect it, but I think something is definitely off.
That's awareness. Shakur isn't trash talking for laughs. He's studying the chaos and preparing for it. And the New York angle adds spice without forcing it. Because while Teofimo claims the city, Shakur knows exactly whose faces he'll see when that crowd lights up. This doesn't feel like fake rivalry. It feels like two elite fighters who genuinely believe the other is standing in the way of something historic. Shakur talking about legacy, about 4 divisions, about chessboards instead of callouts, that's veteran thinking in a young body. And when he says he doesn't care who walks out second, you believe him, because he's already decided the ring is where the argument ends. One fighter thrives on unpredictability. The other thrives on control. And when those worlds collide at Madison Square Garden, you're not getting a gimmick. You're getting a statement fight. Confidence without noise. Tension without acting. And that's usually when real drama shows up on fight night.
Didn't Floyd tell you that you should be the A-side?
Yeah, he did. He told me that he think that I should be because I'm the bigger name.
Yeah.
So it makes sense.
So when you hear senior and junior say things like, that you haven't fought anyone on his level, what is your response to that?
It's cool. I mean, that's their opinion. Like, they could say that. But I know he never fought nobody on my level. Like, I'm 1,000,000% sure that Teo has never seen nobody as good as me in his life.
He's talking about, like, once he gets through you, then he wants Crawford, names like that. How do you think he would do against someone like Terrence at this point?
I think he gets knocked out.
Right after hearing Shakur speak with that calm, locked-in confidence, the conversation naturally shifts to promoter reality. Eddie Hearn jumps in and starts poking at the exact pressure points everyone's been quietly thinking about. I'm listening to Eddie and nodding, because this isn't hype talk. This is risk assessment. He's basically saying, look, Shakur's boxing IQ is elite, the kind that makes fights feel frustrating if you're on the wrong side of it. Not flashy, not reckless, just smart enough to keep you a step late. And when Eddie compares that level of thinking to the sharpest minds in boxing, that's respect whether fans like the style or not. But what matters is he doesn't dismiss Teofimo either. There's no rewriting history here. Beating Loma still matters. Being dangerous still matters.
Do you think it depends on what Teofimo shows up?
Yeah, it always depends on what Teofimo shows up. I think Shakur beats him.
Yeah.
But the weight, again, right? Don't forget, Teofimo's a big 140.
Yeah.
Shakur is probably a small 135. Right? Or not really a big 135.
Yeah.
Teofimo's talking about going to 147. So you have a big size disadvantage going in.
The hesitation you hear from Eddie isn't doubt. It's uncertainty. Because Teofimo is one of those fighters who never shows up the same way twice. And that's the problem. You don't know if you're getting brilliance or frustration. And when a fighter like that steps in with someone as consistent as Shakur, every small flaw gets amplified under bright lights. What really caught my ear is Eddie leaning into the size and weight conversation without excuses. He's basically saying, yeah, Teofimo is bigger, stronger, and more physically settled at 140. And that matters. But here's the catch. Guys like Shakur don't usually lose because of one advantage. They lose when multiple advantages stack against them at once. And Eddie isn't even saying that's happening yet. He's saying this is the danger zone. That's why this fight feels fiddly, awkward, tense, and uncomfortable. Not explosive for the sake of it.
Someone like Shakur is only going to get beat when he moves up and loses his advantage necessarily against a much bigger and stronger guy.
Yeah. But
I think that's a fiddly fight, don't you? I mean, I don't expect it to be this firefight.
Yeah.
I think Teofimo's very awkward and Shakur's very smart, and I don't know. I don't know how good the fight will be, but I think Shakur is again, like pound for pound, IQ wise, I think he's even up there with a Terence and those kind of guys. The difference with Boots is he's got the defensive mastercraft, and he also has the aggressive power to turn your lights out, and I think that's quite different. Do you know what I mean? Like Shakur, I say defensive. I think that's a bit harsh on Shakur, but he's not a huge puncher, but defensively and skill-wise, he's right up there.
He's a real technical fighter.
Oh, phenomenal.